Alright, let's see what's happening on Twitter today. What? No way. No way. I gotta go check this. Oh my gosh. So PlayStation Productions, as we all know, has been on an absolute roll since the Uncharted film released, especially with The Last of Us releasing on HBO Max. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting it's Max now. The Twisted Metal show, and now the most recent release of the Gran Turismo film. That's not even including the Horizon TV show, Kratos going to Amazon. I'm sorry, but I will not stop making that joke because it is so funny. And then, of course, the Ghost of Tsushima film, the Jak Daxter film, which I will touch upon a bit later. And then there's the Days Gone and Gravity Rush films, which were confirmed a while back. Now, why am I taking the time to refresh everyone's memories when it comes to PlayStation Productions? Well, as you just seen in the video's intro, it appears that we've got a tease for a medieval TV show. That's right, even though we haven't seen much of the medieval series since the PS4 remake from 2019, Sony has seemingly done nothing with the series other than releasing the PSP remake on PS Plus? Okay. I'm pretty sure most people didn't like this version of the remake, or whatever it's supposed to be. The point is, in PlayStation Productions' latest video, which can be found on their updated website, we can see a bit of a glimpse of Sir Dan at about the 27-second mark, namely part of his legs and shield, which can be found as part of the official render for the medieval PS4 remake. It also helps that we also see part of a skeleton's hand later on in the video, which, who else could it belong to other than Sir Dan? And this reminded me that I did make a video a while back talking about a few of the PlayStation franchises that I personally think deserve a film or a TV show. And in case you didn't see that video, well, I thought Medieval would make a better TV show considering Sir Dan's speech is entirely muffled. One could even say that he's speechless. Okay, I'll stop. So, I think that would be the perfect way to go. But we do have to keep at least two things in mind. One, PS Productions is working on an animated adaptation according to Asad Kieselbesh, head of PS Productions back in April. Now, it's believed that could be Destiny, but, there is a chance that it could be for Medieval, considering the website seems to indicate that there's more than one animated project in the works by having the word animations in plural. And then there's the second thing to take into account, and that is Ratchet & Clank, Astrobot, and Sackboy appearing in the original PlayStation Productions intro animation. And, as you probably guessed, none of them have gotten anything. So it's possible Sir Dan being here could just be another example of that. However, shortly after this was discovered by a Twitter user by the name of Erratic, on the same day he made this aware to everyone, his post wound up getting quoted by two writers within the industry, Ben Meckler and Chris Amick, both of which teasing that such a project may actually be happening and both of them could be involved to some extent. With Amick saying, if you know, you know, with Meckler just using a thinking and cool sunglass emoji. Now these two mainly have credits for writing multiple episodes of different shows, one of which they do share is Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight on Netflix. I haven't personally seen the show despite really enjoying Kung Fu Panda, so I can't speak regarding its quality or what to expect from them writing Medieval. On the visual front though, we did just get the remake a few years ago, so the visuals still hold up very well, and I'm just here imagining how this world is going to look with the level of animation typically found in the film and TV industry. Oh, that sounds so good. Obviously, I'm not expecting them to go all in on the Nightmare Before Christmas style, which heavily inspired the series, as I think it's mostly gonna follow the recent trend of blending both 3D and 2D animation. Sure, it'll probably be another origin story, given the series isn't as popular as Sony's other IPs. Heck, I can't even find sales numbers for the remake because Sony, I guess, thought the series was that dead, so they didn't even bother publishing them. But I do understand if they go the origin story route, but it's also sad that we'll probably never break out of the same story with this particular series, even though it does have a proper ending with the Fates Arrow comic that was released with the MediEvil PS4 remake. But with Sir Dan appearing in this video and MediEvil Resurrection arriving on PS Plus in the same month, it would appear that the series isn't quite as dead as we thought, no pun intended. So I feel that we're going to be seeing a lot more of Sir Dan in the near future. MediEvil 2 remake, anyone? But enough about MediEvil, cause this PS Productions video also provided further confirmation that the Gravity Rush and Days Gone films are in the works. Deacon, the main character of Days Gone, can be seen in the background alongside Nathan Drake, Aloy, and Kratos. As for Kat, the main character of Gravity Rush, someone actually had to point this out cause it's just the top of her head and I completely overlooked this multiple times. But yeah, I've played a little bit of Gravity Rush since the last time I mentioned it, and it's definitely unique but also pretty addicting once you get the hang of things. And I've said this before, but Gravity Rush definitely lends itself to being done in the 2D animated style when it comes to being adapted. They've already proved this with the Overture short they released to bridge the story of both games. Final thing about this PS Productions video before moving on to the rest of the video is it features a character that, for the life of me, I absolutely cannot identify. And by the looks of it, nobody else could identify this character either. So I was thinking that it's maybe Jak and Daxter, considering at the exact same point in the video they mentioned the futuristic nature of this universe. So it doesn't give me a whole lot to work with, but I've since backtracked on the idea that it is Jak and Daxter, so I don't know. Who do you think it is? Either way, it's kind of odd that these three were clearly present, but Jak and Daxter was nowhere to be seen, especially given the Jak and Daxter film is almost on par with the way Gravity Rush and Days Gone was before this video. So basically how Jak and Daxter was confirmed was when the Uncharted director, Ruben Fleischer, said last year that there are writers who are in the process of writing the script. Which brings me to the latest bit of news regarding the Jak and Daxter film. We already know Tom Holland, who did Nathan Drake in the Uncharted film, expressed interest in doing the role of Jak. After being asked if he could make a film based on any video game, what would it be? Which led to Ruben informing him about the film actually being a thing, and that was basically the last we heard about this film until August 17th. Fair warning, I'm personally taking the following info with a grain of salt until we get something a bit more concrete, despite this user's credibility of leaking the full scripts of both Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, both being high-profile Marvel films. So, with that context, here we go. Twitter or X user MyTimeToShine makes claim that the film will be live action and that Holland will wind up playing Jak while Daxter, and if this does wind up becoming true, I'll be very confused, will be played by Chris Pratt. You know, the guy who voiced Mario in the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture.
Yep, that's about where we're at. like I said, take with a massive grain of salt, but the fact of our possibly not getting Daxter's original VA back, I see as a huge red flag. Cause, let's be real, you can't replace Max Casella as Daxter, who's already a typically shrill character, so he's a perfect fit. And let's pretend this is true for a second. I've personally got nothing against the choice of voice, cause I don't mind the guy, and he did a pretty good job with Mario after everyone was so quick to jump on the critique train. It's just after hearing him in so many voice roles, he doesn't really sound like he could do a Daxter, though I could be proven wrong in the end. But honestly, this kinda feels like the Sly Cooper movie situation where they didn't bother to contact Kevin Miller in the role of Sly for that trailer, and people were pretty mixed on it. At least with the Ratchet & Clank film, they got the core voice cast to return, with the exception of Drek, and that's a whole other can of worms right there. Both instances where the original voice actor got sidelined by someone more popular in a PlayStation IP. But considering this is possibly a live-action film, which I would also take issue with if true, cause the series seems better suited for the animation format than if it were live action, which arguably doesn't capture the same energy as animation would. Otherwise, we'll just be getting the Scrapjack 4, and I'm pretty sure no fan of the series wants to see that. Even Naughty Dog themselves thought they'd be doing fans a disservice if they had continued with Jack 4's development, due to the more realistic and cinematic approach they were going for with Uncharted and Last of Us and applying it to Jak Daxter. Heck, there's a fun piece of trivia I bet you guys didn't even know about, but during the development stages of Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction, Insomniac even tried making Ratchet look more quote-unquote human, but after a while they dropped this concept because they thought, you know what, that's not Ratchet anymore. So they went for a higher resolution version of the PS2 model, and a very good call on Insomniac's end. So if both Insomniac and Naughty Dog both decided against these more realistic directions, that should be pretty telling on how these series should be represented in the film or TV space. Even Asad Kieselbash states on the PS Productions website that PlayStation Productions strikes the delicate balance between honoring the rich source material and creating a brand new cinematic experience for audiences. So that's why I say it's best to wait for official confirmation in regards to the Jak Daxter film being live action before jumping to conclusions. Heck, I still can't believe someone put out an article making claim that the Sly Cooper adaptation was going to be a live-action CGI hybrid. Like, what? When we've known since 2014 and 2017 respectively that it's going to be animated whenever it eventually releases, cause it's been almost 10 years at this point, come on! In either instance, and in summary, a new PS Productions video dropped, teased a MediEvil adaptation, and further confirmed that the Gravity Rush and Days Gone films are in development, and the latest Jak Daxter rumor is to be taken with a massive grain of salt until proven otherwise. In the meantime, it appears that the visual joke from one of my Jak Daxter videos, still applies. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think a MediEvil project is happening, and what are you expecting from PS Productions' other projects, whether announced or unannounced? Be sure to leave everything down in the comment section below. Also be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for future PlayStation updates. Once again, I've been Blue Knight. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the constant support. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys back here next time.